There are several different ways to generate passive income and make money online. And in this video, I'm gonna share 3 completely different legitimate strategies that you can choose from to build a passive income business of your own. Since 2008, I've built several different businesses that have utilized one or more of these business models. I've been featured in magazines and articles across the globe, and since I started my journey, I've generated over $5 million in earnings. In fact, all of my income and expenses since October of 2008 have been tracked and can be seen online publicly on smartpassiveincome.com. Now, instead of reading all of those income reports, make sure you stick around because I'm gonna distill the decade of learning into 3 completely different business models that you can choose from so you can decide which path you wanna go down from this day forward. Those 3 models are the FP model, the AA model, and the EP model. What are those? Well, I'll tell you in this video, but the real trick is finding out which one actually best suits you. And to help you, I'm gonna give you a real life example of each of these and how to get started. Hi, my name is Pat Flynn, founder of smartpassiveincome.com, and I'm here to help you make more money, save more time, and help more people too. Now let's talk passive income. What is passive income? Well, there are many different definitions of it, but my definition and the way that I like to teach it is it's building online businesses that can work for you, that allow you to generate income and grow and scale without a real-time presence. In other words, we don't trade our time for money. You build something up front that can continue to work for you over time. Pat, is this even possible? Yes, it's definitely possible. Is this something you could do without investing a boatload of money? Yes. Unlike real estate or investing in the stock market, you can build something with relatively little to no money that can continue to pay you over and over again. And finally, is this something that's easy to do? No. Definitely not. Passive income is not easy. Some people are gonna tell you otherwise. They're gonna tell you about a magic button or a formula or a blueprint where you can get rich all by doing nothing. And don't even get me started on the people who say that this stuff can happen overnight. It doesn't, and if that's what you're looking for, well, I'm sorry, you're in the wrong place because guess what? It does not happen overnight. It takes a lot of hard work. You gotta put in the hours, you gotta work hard now so you can build these assets that can continue to work for you later. Because once you start to build that passive income stream, you start to have a little bit of flexibility and freedom. You can have more time to do more things, or do less things, or build even more passive income streams. So please, as I introduce these 3 business models to you, do realize that they, yes, take time, but also it's very much worth it. Cool? Cool. All right, let's get started. The FP model stands for the freelance to product model, starting with freelancing and then finding a problem that could be solved with a product. Freelancing is working for different companies and getting paid for certain skills that you have that they need. Now, you might be thinking, Pat, what the heck? You said this was about passive income. Well, freelancing is active income. You are trading your time for money. What's the deal? Well, the deal is we're just getting started, so hear me out. First of all, freelancing, I feel, is the #1 way to get started in building a business of your own. You're gonna learn a lot of skills running your own business as a freelancer, and not only that, you're gonna get paid much quicker too than if you just started with trying to make passive income first, because that's a great way to fail. You need to start with the active income first before you can convert that into the passive income later. But beyond that, my absolute favorite reason why I recommend freelancing to start is this. You'll get to know the industry that you're in quite well, perhaps so well that you can find the holes, meaning the opportunities for you to create a product-based passive income business. In other words, by freelancing in a space you have interest in, you not only have the opportunity to make money now from your skill sets, but you also have the opportunity to find opportunities to build products that can continue to help you earn money over time. Let me tell you about my friend Brian Castle. He too was once a freelancer who was only making money by billing client after client.
I actually used to bill per project. I come from a background as a freelance web designer. And I used to kind of build per project and occasionally by the hour, but either way, it was still very much tied to my time. Like I could only fit in a certain number of projects and I was basically living like project to project throughout the year.
After doing web design for years, he eventually found a huge need for website and design in the restaurant and food truck space. Then after getting tired of working with client after client, he decided to turn his service-based business into a productized business.
I kind of wanted to move away from that and get into a more standardized, predictable service, essentially a productized service that just does one thing extremely well, solves one problem exceptionally well, and then it's really designed for one particular client. And that just removes that whole discovery negotiation from the table so that I can just focus on providing a great service and kind of leave it at that.
So what he did was remove all that individual client work and then create actual templates and products that would serve that market. They would pick a product, he would serve it to them, either by just choosing it and having it already available or having his team, other human beings, actually create those things for those clients. You can catch more of Brian in his interview on session 158 of the Smart Passive Income podcast, which I will link to in the description below. All active businesses can be shifted and turned into a more passive business by either having products that are already made, by having software do a lot of legwork for you, or even other human beings do that work too. Now, let me tell you about how I made my first passive income online back in 2008 with business model number 2. The AA model stands for Alcoholics Anonymous, Anti-Aircraft, Alumni Association, acronym abuse. Just kidding. Sorry, I get a little carried away sometimes. It actually stands for Audience and Advertising Model. It's one of the most used forms of building passive income online. However, it does come with a fair amount of warnings, which I will share with you in just a minute. If you're a YouTuber making money through AdSense, then you are following the AA model because you're building an audience and then generating an income through your viewership. If you're a blogger and you're getting a lot of traffic to your website and you are making money through advertising and or sponsorships, well, then you're also following the AA model. A podcast with sponsorships, AA model. You get the idea, right? You have this audience, you have these advertisers who want to get in front of that audience, and you marry the two and you get paid for it. When I started building my architectural related business back in 2008 online, my first dollar was actually made through advertising. I'd spent months building credibility in this space and actually getting traffic to my website, and then I threw an ad on my website one day and I made $1.18. I mean, sure, I can find that underneath my couch cushion, but that wasn't the point. The point was the fact that I actually was able to build something online, put an ad, and actually make money without me having to do anything. Although, of course, it took several months to create that. But point being, it was possible. It motivated me to move forward. And eventually, I put more ads on the site. My traffic started to grow. And then I was earning anywhere between $30 and $50 a day just through advertising alone. Now, here's the funny thing. I built a completely brand new website. I got even more traffic to that one than my previous one. I put ads on it, and I didn't even make more than $50 after 6 months of advertising. And that's one of the downsides of the AA model. Ads are not super predictable, especially auto-generated ones like ones through Google AdSense and such. Secondly, although I've done advertising and sponsorships in the past and have made hundreds of thousands of dollars doing so, the truth is that it takes a lot of time for this business model to actually start to generate an income for you because you need to build that audience first, and it takes time to build an audience. And more than that, what happens when you build this audience and a following on a platform that ends up changing their algorithm, or how often you actually get seen in front of this audience that you've built? Super stressful for a lot of people, which is why I always recommend building an email list. In order to build an audience, you need a platform, you need to have something worth following, something worth sharing and valuable to others. And that, of course, takes time. Now, that's not to say that you can't build a huge audience in a very short period of time. A lot of people have become quite famous in a short time period. And as often as we hear about those stories, we also don't hear about the stories of the millions of people who are struggling every single day to just get a few more fans and followers. But the cool thing is, you don't need a huge audience in order to generate passive income and make money online. That's why if I had the choice, I'd actually go with the EP model. The EP model stands for the expert to product model. Now, don't let the term expert scare you away because it's probably not what you think. Most people think an expert is somebody who is a master at something, somebody with a special degree or special training, somebody who's put in those 10,000 hours who is just great. That's not the kind of expert I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the fact that you can be an expert in the eyes of somebody else just by knowing a little bit more than they do. And guess what? You have experiences, you have ideas, you have opinions that are all unique to you. The goal is to become just expert enough to earn the trust from others so that they can want to learn even more from you. So, quick story. Remember that $1.18 I found on the couch, among other things? Well, even when that increased to $30 to $50 a day, it still wasn't enough to live off of. So I looked for other options. In August of 2008, after a few people started to know who I was and how I was helping them pass this exam on my blog, I wrote an ebook that I sold for $19.95. It included all the information I knew about how to pass this exam, and I just sold it simply from my blog. On October 2nd, 2008, when I finally put that book online, I sold my first copy, which was an amazing feeling. And then fast forward through all of October of 2008, I ended up making $7,126.91 just from ebook sales alone. The craziest part about all this is that I would wake up in the morning and there'd be more money in my bank account because people bought my book overnight. When you think about it, an online store that sells something that's digital is something that is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and using tools and software and systems, you can automate the delivery process so that you literally don't have to do anything to serve that audience. Now in the description below, I'll put some of the tools that I was using and also some more articles about that story, about how all that happened, but let's continue. What's important to realize here though, is that with this exam that I was teaching people about, I didn't get a perfect score. In fact, I didn't even get close to a perfect score. I passed, yes, but I also knew a lot about this exam, way more than somebody who was just diving into the studying of this. And it was because of that, because I was just a few steps ahead of them, they trusted me to help them with that information. I provided a lot of great free value to help them along the way. I engaged in conversations in the comment section and on forums to get known. And most of all, I just really cared about those people because I struggled big time with that exam and I was helping people not do the same. Here's the truth, guys. A successful business is something that successfully solves a problem. You can make more money by two ways. One, solving more people's problems, or number two, solving bigger problems. Now let's take this one step further. The cool thing about this EP model, the expert to product model, is that sometimes these products don't have to be yours. You can actually generate income through the recommendation of other people or other companies' products. This is something called affiliate marketing, and it's how I've made actually most of my money since starting in 2008. First time I did this was way back with the same website, the architecture exam website. I connected with a company that also sold practice exams, and I got paid $22 for every person who I sold one of those things. And over the course of the years since then, I've generated over $250,000 simply by recommending that product alone. Again, a product that was not mine, but it was still helpful to my audience. And this was all done with just thousands of visitors a month, not millions or hundreds of thousands, just a few thousand. So how do you get started with the EP model? Well, first you have to be an expert in the eyes of those who are you looking to serve. And remember, you do not need all these qualifications and credibility. Actually, some people gain expertise and credibility through just sharing their experience learning something too, which is what I've done on smartpassiveincome.com and many other people in the personal finance space or in fitness. You think about it, they're talking about their journey. They are building trust and authority through sharing their experiences, and you can do the same thing too. Another great way to get started is to actually, in an area of interest that you have, go out and start talking to people and asking them questions like, what are you struggling with right now? What are your biggest pains? What's something that you wish existed that did not? And that'll give you some ideas about where to start and what positions you might be able to take. Remember, a successful business solves people's problems. And at first, you're gonna have to do the work. You're gonna have to do the legwork, put in the time, put in the hours. But of course, it's about building something now so you can reap the benefits later, because using software, using tools, using automation, using other people that you hire, you can actually turn this business that helps solve people's problems into something that can be automated for you, so you can generate passive income too. For more info about passive income, make sure you visit smartpassiveincome.com or subscribe to the Smart Passive Income podcast, which would be really cool. And hey, if you like this video, make sure you subscribe right now and click on that notification bell so you get notice when new videos go live too. Now, quick question for you to answer below in the comments section before you leave, and that is this. Which of those business models makes the most sense for you? And if you implement that business model and earn an additional, let's just say $500 a month, what could an extra $500 a month generated passively do for you? But remember, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes work. Hopefully this will give you a great head start, and make sure to check out smartpassiveincome.com for even more info about how to do it all. So thanks again. I appreciate you and look forward to serving you in the next video.